Take it away.
Welcome to Momentum Monday. Today is May 3rd, 2020, and it's getting hot
Ooh,
outside, right?
it's not hot, is it there? Here?
Oh, in San Diego is perfect. It's like 75.
Yeah. Well, you're talking to Howard from Coronado.
Okay.
H for Howard.
And the market's getting hot too, right? All right, let's just go straight to it.
I can't figure it out. So you take it away. I'm pretty confused.
So last week, especially at the beginning of the week, we saw a big rally in small caps, and especially in the worst hit stocks during the sell-off in February and in March.
Mm-hmm.
Turns out, Warren Buffett has been selling his airline stocks to, all the retail.
Are they in the small cap, Ivan?
Some of them. I mean, as I said, not just small caps, but all stocks that were hit really hard.
That was a nasty give back in the small caps.
Well, we're talking, airlines, financials, cruise lines, like all of those that were hit really hard. I mean, many of them were up 30, 40, 50, even 100% for the first 2-3 days of last week. And then on Thursday, everything switched into a selling mode, and they gave back up most of it. But yes, you're right. I guess airlines are not small caps yet.
Yeah. But the financials you're saying gave it up. Let me see what it looks like, Ivan.
Yeah, they gave up most of their gains.
Ooh. Yeah, I saw a lot of that. I saw like Twitter, like all the average people were chasing by the end of last week. I called it like buying exhaustion. You had selling exhaustion a month ago, but that's buying exhaustion right there with that Russell. What is that? The weekly? Holy.
Yeah, this is the weekly. So I'm just showing you that it just closed near the low of its range, and it was a pretty wide range. I mean, people were getting super excited Wednesday, Thursday, especially after the strong reports from Facebook, Apple, Tesla, Amazon. So it was, I mean, a pullback was just due basically at this point when you have a 60% rally in 6 weeks in the S&P 500 in the midst of one of the biggest economic and health crises that we've ever seen. I think it's normal to, especially coming into May, it's completely normal to see an increase in volatility. And Matt, how are you, Max? Happy birthday.
It's Max just made a rare appearance.
Yeah, with a big.
We're in San Diego, and he just stormed Momentum Monday.
Was that toilet paper that he was carrying, or what was that?
He's carrying toilet paper. He's got masks. He's got food, shampoo. I mean, it's Boys Week in Coronado.
Correct.
Shampoo. All right, Max doesn't realize we're actually doing a show. So wait a minute, Pantene. That's a lot of Pantene, Max. Who makes Pantene? Their stock may be Procter & Gamble. Okay, Ivan, what do you use for your hair?
I use some
Arrabbiata sauce.
Yeah, I'm not sure what the brand name is, but it's not any of the mainstream ones.
All right, let's go. Keep going.
So yes, I mean, definitely towards the end of last week, we saw a spike in volatility, a lot of reversals. And I think we had the big sell-off, we had a big rally, and now we might have entered a period of choppiness, especially that we're in the midst of earnings season. We might see a lot of. I think the best case scenario here for the bulls is basically sideways range-bound action and choppiness.
And what are you? I mean, more important, how are you positioned? Pretty cash high still, Ivan?
Yeah, heavy cash, but I'm very active on a daily basis. I do own some gold miners since they're showing notable relative strength. And even on Friday, it was one of the few sectors that fully recovered, closed green. There's still some interesting biotech plays that are looking constructively and are just worth taking a shot.
Let me see your favorite. What are your favorites? There's so many interesting biotechs. I don't trade them, but I'm watching
there's
them.
so many of them, and I mean, this one is obviously still working on a base, but this one is, it's not really considered a biotech, I guess, but it's just definitely, I'll pay attention
Yeah.
to stocks that go up when on a big down day. So definitely showing relative strength. So I own it. And I think it's a lot more interesting on the short side right now.
Okay, well, that's important. That's important for you because I myself, Ivan, is like I've been selling, right, and I've been trying to stay above 50% long. So anytime I add something new, I'm selling something from my core. But even my old Facebook position, I think they did a smart thing with the move into India, and I think the move was, I mean, they're going to be a big e-commerce player globally at some point. I don't think they can afford Shopify. Shopify's on its own, but based on Shopify and Amazon, if we look at Amazon and Shopify, Amazon's going to make their move, and it may be internationally because they can't win. Amazon kind of reversed on Bezos saying we're going to invest, but if you look at Shopify too, again, Facebook needs to get into this position, right? The Libra thing has been slow. If we pull Facebook back up, it's very interesting. They're moving to India, and you can see how it got hammered on ads. And I think we're seeing that he's just Zuckerberg and company are unstoppable in the sense that they want to be relevant, and e-commerce is the future of relevance, right? And it's a Shopify Amazon world here in the US. And Facebook, if they can't win the US, has made their move into the rest of the world for e-commerce. I'm trying to think what else. Everything looks, like you said, Ivan, like it's running into strength, like into support, like Lulu, Nike. Like they had great runs from how oversold they were. And then boom.
I mean, last week, it seems like the market last week was a wake-up call for the market because
last week was a wake-up call for people that chase, right? We went from that, it was just like, get me stocks. It felt like that, and I wrote about it. It was just like people were just dying to own stocks all of a sudden. And we're in a bear market. I still think we're in a bear market, but you got the green, what's the green line? Upward sloping, what is that, a 20-day or
Yeah, it's the 20-day, the 20-day exponential moving average.
Yeah.
So, I mean, the one thing that really made a big impression on me last week was when Amazon came out. I mean, they basically missed earnings estimates, which was a big surprise for many because obviously everyone expected big jump in revenue, which they had. But then Bezos said, we're going to use our entire operating profit of $4 billion to secure our employees against the coronavirus. So that's why I'm saying it was a wake-up call for the market, that even the companies that are benefiting from this crisis and are growing revenue, all of a sudden, I mean, their costs are increasing, their cost of operations. And unless you're a software company, probably your costs have gone up and therefore your margin have been squeezed. With the S&P, near 290, 280, maybe we've gone up, too much, too fast, considering the big margin squeeze that is happening all around.
Yeah, I think relative strength-wise, that is something to watch. I think Tesla, was the other big story on Friday. I mean, who knows what God bless, but he just buried the stock was almost 900, closes at 700. I mean, that is a reversal for the ages. And that stuff happens in bear markets, right? I mean, they can't be selling cars. They just can't. They're no different than anybody else, right? And, he's pissed about being shut down. Obviously, we know why. This is very trying on a global company that's manufacturing cars, especially the cars that people want and can't get or not thinking about them right now. So there's a lot of stress in the system. I think people have to wait for the stocks that they love to come to them. Listen, I'd love to see it back in the 500s, to initiate it again. But I'm just going to continue to sell rallies until we build some bigger bases. You know, you still got 25, 30% unemployment. I don't get it. And I'm no Buffett fanboy, but he's got a lot of cash. And he was saying that companies aren't calling him.
Yeah, he's not buying anything basically right now.
Yeah. And there's something to be said about that. Apple's sitting on their cash hoard. Google's sitting on their cash hoard. It's tough to do acquisitions, right? Like you can't travel, you can't meet the teams. Whatever acquisitions were in the pipeline, I think they'll pick up in the fall if we don't have kind of a reclosure. I think it'll be hard to reclose America. Once they get the momentum and openness, it would take something travesty to get America shut down again. So, from that aspect, there's just so much uncertainty. I hate saying it because there's always uncertainty, and there's a huge wall of worry to climb here, Ivan, post-COVID. And there's a ton of cash in people's accounts, or a ton of cash in people's that invest accounts. But I think people are going to be a lot more conservative coming out of this, the people that would be new investors. So there'll be a lot more trading, a lot more volatility. The VIX is still at 40, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's started to perk up a little bit Thursday, Friday, but
over 40
high historically compared to its average.
Yeah. So I don't know. Like you said, it's great for you, Ivan. You're scalping. You're not scared of going both ways. You're sticking to the hot sectors, which are gold and biotech. Anything else? And the semis look like
the semis
they could be rolling over. I think like
over.
Semis confused me because at some point the tariffs. You got the tariffs too, right? And they're the heaviest hit by these things. And you got the China rhetoric.
This was the.
I guess if there was an industry I thought I might have shorted, that was the one I was looking at. That would have been a nice trade the last few days.
Yeah.
There's China large cap. I mean, it's heavy
than the rest of the market. So
very heavy. And Brazil's getting their ass kicked. Maybe US dollar, just getting their ass kicked.
Yeah. With the strong US dollar is very bearish for emerging markets. And yes, you're correct. This is a big macro and not only macro trading team. All the talk about not only keeping the tariffs on China, but even increasing them, because right now they're even talking about that the coronavirus might have been created in a lab in China, and some people call it a biotech weapon and stuff like this. And if this narrative continues,
the narrative, like you said, is what matters. The narrative is going to continue. He's not thinking about American people. He's thinking about the federal government's just thinking about getting elected again, and that's not good for the markets, especially after this rally. He's got 200-300 S&P points to play with before people panic again. So he's got a wide range. Trump loves talking up and down the market, so he's got a wide swath here before people freak out. People won't start freaking out until 2,500. And so he's playing the game. Market rally, he loves it. Sells off, he doesn't talk until it gets really bad, and then he jams on Powell. But the Fed playbook is with the Fed behind this, a big sell-off would scare the shit out of people, at this point. So in a bear market, expect the unexpected. We know the Fed is just going to, call it a cash cannon at everything. The trickle down probably is not working. It'll work like it did in the past. I think the PPP is, for all intents and purposes, was going to have to be reopened, and they're rejiggering the rules. We have 100 portfolio companies. They're rejiggering the rules every day now, forcing companies to give it back. It's messy, right? It's messy out there. It's hard to do business. And in the end, these stocks are driven by business and earnings. So I think that's kind of the issue. And I think you've had the hot hand, so high cash seems to be for traders, seems to be the thing. All your friends, same thing? All the people you talk to, same thing?
Some of them. I mean, many of my friends are not really into the stock market that much. So they're just dollar cost averaging every month a little bit. So nothing has changed there. So
All right. Well, we can do a workout this week, you and I, and catch up. But I think it's a lot of earnings this week too. So I'm just going to just watch at best. I don't really have any big ideas.
Yeah, big earnings week. I think Shopify reports this week. Another one that is very interesting to me is Peloton.
I'm long a little bit here. There's no real edge here other than I know the numbers are going to be huge.
Yeah.
The question is, how do they spin going forward what the business is? You could see 20 or 50 for all I know in this stock.
Exactly.
So I don't have an edge, just small position, but that's one where I'm just super, super convinced that they're going to be more than a hardware company very soon. I mean, they already are, but I mean, as a percentage of revenues, that's going to continue to increase. So I think it'll be interesting how the analysts talk about that company. It's kind of like a Netflix of fitness.
Yeah, I mean, I'm bullish on this one just because I looked at the numbers in the reaction to a stock like what was NLS.
So that's a competitor. Yeah, it's been around forever.
A huge dog for many years. And look at this rally, and especially after they haven't reported earnings, but they guided higher. And
yeah, but give people some context of how the long term on that one. It's been a pig. Go to the monthly, Ivan.
Yeah, definitely monthly has been
yeah. So they got some they finally copied the playbook there. The other one that's interesting that rallied, even though it's a dog, is AMC, right? On the news that movies are it actually rallied hard on news that the studios are gonna start throwing stuff out much earlier. If you go to the daily, you can just see it like tripled. There's one that I was looking at. Well, it's pulled back again. But yeah, I mean, this is probably inevitably a restructure or a zero, but there's just a lot of, Me Too stuff happening, a lot of headline noise. Everybody's trying to, reposition themselves here. But like I said, I think it's just hard to do business. I see it from our companies. It's one thing to make cuts and to survive. Oh, Max, you're now topless in our show. In our show, naked. So that should be interesting. But I think it's just hard to do business. Right, masks, gloves, different rules for different places. We drove here. The rule,
costs have increased a lot for the businesses that are open and will open in the next few weeks. And the current numbers this quarter that we're seeing, most of those numbers, they don't really reflect the new reality. I mean, all the lockdowns and the layoffs, they happened in mid-March and after that. So the numbers this quarter, they don't really reflect the new reality. We'll see the new numbers next quarter. And this is why the market has paused a little bit, because we've had a big rally, and because basically the Fed said that they're going to backstop everything.
Yep.
Now maybe it's just time to just pause and just reevaluate which companies will be the big winners going forward, because we're not going to get back to normal quickly. There's going to be...
And it does seem obvious. If you pull up the NASDAQ, it just seems too obvious. I mean, not that they don't deserve to be leading, but I think people are taking a breath here, should take a breath no matter what, and really think about how obvious this trade has become, the digital trade. And in a bear market, these things can still drop 30%. So I'm trying to be optimistic, and being optimistic means I don't want to be bearish, which means have good cash position so that in a high VIX market, you can take advantage of some things. All right, I'm excited to hang out, Ivan. So sounds like we're just kind of playing it close to the vest this week, and we'll check back next week, see if we were right.
Yeah, let's see.
Okay. See you, everybody.
See you.